1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's Cure of the What Now.
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the What Now.
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the What Now.
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the What Now.
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh. Served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow reluctant musicians, and welcome to episode 15 of
Cure of the What Now.
the one show where we know, come on, it's your grandpa's birthday, don't be a dick. Come on, just sing a little. Just mouth along while the other people sing. Just be present. Akko really, we'll get to it, but she really was like, if there's any singing at all involved, I'm out. F this, F you, F my grandpa, F birthdays. You know why she hates birthdays?
Because they remind her of all the times that she was unwelcome by all of the other people because she's just a snake.
My name is Kat, and I am desperately trying to sell octopus to people who did not come up this mountain for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are you from My Little Pony? Applejack, that's her name.
Am I from the Apple family?
Yeah, I kept wanting to call her Apple Bloom, and that's the younger one.
I'm your co-host, Joel, and also, I found this baby goat up on the mountain, and I'm totally keeping it. He seems to like me.
We can't have a goat in the house, Joel. It will compete with the Aussie for our attention.
No, don't you see? The Aussie will keep an eye on the goat, and the goat will keep the Aussie preoccupied.
Oh, that's brilliant. Goats in the house it is. Welcome, everybody. I just want to take a moment. Let's all embrace the vibe. We're all going to be chill today. We're all going to be on topic. We're all going to record just like regular people. Joel, I believe you have a discussion question for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of covered this, well... See, I brought up the generals that represent the three, flying, land and then sea or whatever, and I really do want to talk about that, but right now, the thing I most want to talk about is our favorite season of Sentai, ToQger. They had trains that went into their transforming
Their henshin
items, and they were able to switch those trains mid-battle, and then they would switch costumes. They would switch colors. So let's brainstorm a PreCure season where they can do that, where they each have, like, their main color, but then mid-battle they can kind of, like, swap and mix or something like that.
Okay, I like that. What if each of them has a different style of attack?
Okay.
Right? You've got the archer girl, because when isn't there an archer girl in PreCure? You've got somebody who's got the big punchies. You've got somebody with a hammer.
Okay, you've got like a shield person.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they switch costumes, they switch powers.
Okay, yeah.
And you could even have it be a like they get the ability to do this as they get closer together. So like learning about the other person allows you to put yourself in their shoes and empathize with them.
Have you been reading my PreCure work in progress scripts? Because that's the exact mechanism that I had in my story, in my OCs that I was going to write down eventually.
Oh, no, I just thought that was a natural offshoot of the idea.
It absolutely is. That's how it works in Steven Universe, and that's how it works in feelings-based animes, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, I really like that idea. One thing that I kind of I don't really think this will happen, but I wonder if Kokone can create the bread slices, and I wonder if she could turn it sideways and one of the girls could jump on it and then she could lift it and be like a way of like launching one of her teammates in the air. So I'm thinking that the main shield cure of this season would just create a straightforward shield, but then one of the other people would make it more like a disc or a platform where they can move someone across the water or something on it.
Oh, I love that. So everybody would use their ability slightly differently than the person who it belongs to.
Exactly. So you would have one person who's probably very straightforward with all of their abilities. That's probably the one who is normally the punchy girl. The archer would probably be more of a strategist, and the shield is probably more of a support support unit, if that makes sense. And so when they swap around, how does the strategist use their super strength? Maybe they punch a pillar so that it falls on the Zakenna or whatever the bad guy is, as opposed to Punchy Girl who would just punch the Zakenna.
I love that. Would the bad guys for this season be lacking empathy in some way, or would they have the ability to remove empathy from people?
Oh, yeah, see, I think the more direct opposite would be someone who's like empathy, or people who are always fighting amongst each other and they can't use each other's fighting styles. But I think it would be more interesting if they had the power to basically steal things from regular humans. So, the episode 4 would be about someone's dad kind of always being at work or whatever. And then the villains would show up and they'd take his motivation, his work ethic or something, and then they would use that to create the monster, and then saving it would help restore the family balance or something like that.
All right. I like it. Can I make a joke that you absolutely can bleep out or cut out?
Sure.
If the bad guys, if they lack empathy or they can take things from other people, are the bad guys Ted Cruz?
See, normally you're the one telling me not to bring my hot political takes onto this podcast.
Well, and I really don't mean to get political, and we don't need to go into it, but the last week was really rough, and I think that a lot of people are probably feeling a lot of similar emotions to me, so sometimes being lighthearted about things that frustrate us can help us work through them. If you are having a bad time, I hope you have access to some kind of support network, because it really is a bad time to be here and be a person.
It absolutely is. But this is not a
PreCure. No,
this is a PreCure podcast.
This is not a
political takes
podcast.
A grassroots movement podcast where we encourage people to go out to. But yeah, I think also, I don't know. I like to try to figure out what the mid-season cure would be like for each of these seasons that we pitch. So maybe what she could do is maybe she would be someone who can enhance the power of someone else. Or maybe she can combine two powers. So she can combine the punchy power and the shield power. I like her being able to, temporarily give someone else a boost. Maybe she has a power to give one of them a crown or something, and that makes their abilities stronger for just the duration of the battle. But you can only do it to one person at a time, so she has to be strategic again.
Gotcha. What if she can do the same thing the bad guys can do, but she doesn't take it from the person, she shares it with them?
She copies it or something. Okay, yeah. Really
She's a Kerbo! PreCure opens her mouth, swallows villain whole, news at 11.
I'm just imagining one of the villain's legs just kicking because they've only been half absorbed into the mouth or whatever. Could you imagine if it's just Gentle's boots just flailing because she's bad?
I love it. Oh my gosh. What episodes are we covering this week, and what episodes are we going to cover next week?
Yes, this week we watched Max Heart 12, Delicious Party PreCure 12, Sweet 38, and Sweet 39, which means next week we'll be covering Max Heart 13, Delicious Party 13, Sweet 40, and Sweet 41. Yeah, I think that's everything. You probably want those sweet, succinct summaries.
I would like to have them, yes.
Okay, Max Heart, the Amane, the girl who owns the takoyaki shop, or the woman, I guess, she's older, she goes to the mountains, and the PreCure girls go with her, and she can't sell her products, but then they realize that if they put some flowers on the plates from the local wildlife, people will buy the products, and then the Zakennas show up, and they beat the Zakennas. That's it.
There's a goat.
Hikari is super bonded with this goat. Mm-hmm. She's like the goat whisperer or something. In Sweet 38, it's Otokichi's birthday. All of the girls seem really excited to celebrate, except for Akka, which seems kind of weird. Soda is bugging her to try to sing, and she basically goes, I want to sing when I'm with my family. And Hibiki's like, you're basically our family. And then Akko's like, yeah, these girls are my family. And she sings at the end of the episode, and she more formally integrates with the team.
I don't know why they didn't just invite Mephisto and Aphrodite to come visit.
Yeah, I don't know either. But, sometimes simple problems require complex solutions that take 22 minutes to resolve and a monster of the week.
Fair
That's just how it works. And then in episode 39, do you remember the previous episode where Hibiki and Ellen were super excited to catch notes and Hami used a spell to help them be able to see notes? This is that episode again, part 2, with all 4 of the girls now. So the first episode was just Hibiki and Hibiki and Kanade being cute. This one is Hibiki, Kanade, Ellen, and Akko being cute. And we get confirmation that the reason that Kier Muse was so tall previously when she was the masked Kier Muse is because she had really tall boots. And so Akko brings the boots back. And also these episodes are very adorable, centering around Akko expressing more emotions than she has in the past and opening up as a character. And I thought that was adorable. And then in Delicious Party PreCure, and Yui, she's taken a radical, bold approach. She's put her foot down. She's decided mind control doesn't sound good, actually.
Huh, I never thought about it that way.
Right? I know. Yui's just she's on a whole nother level considering these things. So the girls basically decide that they're going to try to get Gentle to stop being mind controlled. Mary talks about how she's basically having her heart taken over by darkness and eventually her original self will be overwritten. And Yui goes, I believe that there is still a chance that the real, is she Amane too?
Gentle is Amane.
Okay. Oh, Akane is the older Takoyaki girl from Matar. That's what I was like, are there 2 girls who were named the same thing in the 2 seasons we're watching? But they're gonna try to unbrainwash Amane, and Yui is like the real Yui is inside, and then the mind control is broken, and the episode ends with Yusuke Urameshi in the delicious field going, I see. So Gentle and Mary, or no, not Gentle, what the heck? Mary and Yui are in cahoots with each other about something.
Not that exactly, because that makes it sound like he was accusing Yui of something. He was saying Mary is dragging Yui into danger.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And those have been your Succinct Summaries!
That was fantastic.
Wait, sorry, I forgot to mention, Sweet PreCure has a bird. It's a really ugly bird, according to some. According to others, it's cute. It's named P-chan because that's like the sound that it makes. Man.
It's funny, too, because it was on screen and it was going, pee, pee, pee. And I did my, my Akko voice and I went, oh, I'll call you P-chan. And then that's immediately what she said.
Your psychic powers manifest.
I watched too much PreCure is what it is. We'll talk about Sweet in a second. But is there something that we need to apologize for, perhaps?
I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
Last episode, I do know what you mean. I'm just trying to save face. So last episode of the podcast, we wanted to look ahead and we wanted to predict what the next episode of Delicious Party would be. Normally what I do when we get to the end of the episode watching it on Crunchyroll is I skip the preview images and I get right to the part where they reveal the title of the next episode. And I pause and I write it down. Last episode of the podcast, I forgot to do that, so I went to the Wikipedia and I just went to the latest episode that was in their list of episodes, and I went, oh yeah, that's probably the one that we're going to be covering. That's the one that's premiering next week. But it turns out it wasn't. It was the episode that was premiering in 2 weeks. So last week when we said, save their stolen memories, Takumi's secret, no, that wasn't episode 12. That was episode 13. And we did not correctly talk about the episode of today's episode, or episode 12, which was something like embrace gentle soul, a teaspoon of hope. Something along that lines.
Yeah. So, that said, I want to talk about Delicious Party first, because I'm interested in where things are going with Takumi.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like we're going to keep getting dragged around with the Amane stuff, or do you think Narsatoru's hold on her is pretty permanently broken?
I don't know how many more times you can do the mind control trope, because sometimes you have characters who are mind controlled and other characters don't know, and you can kind of drag out the dramatic tension because we, the viewer, know that something's wrong with them, but the characters don't. But at this point, they know what it is, and they've already defeated it. So the only thing that could possibly happen is if he brings out an even stronger version of mind control that's even better than the version he already used, which was already better than the version he already... So I think we're pretty much done with the mind control hijinks at this point.
I really enjoyed... There was a scene where Gentle, she and Yui are fighting, and Yui's like, I don't want to fight you, Gentle, I want to help you. Well, she won't call her Gentle, and Gentle's like, stop dead naming me, my name is Gentle. But I don't want to fight you, Amane, I want to help you. But there's a moment where one of her eyes is Amane blue, and the other one is Gentle red, and she looks at Yui, and she goes, please stop me. Mm-hmm. And like, that was emotionally powerful.
It really was.
She's trapped inside herself and she's watching bad things happen and she has no power to stop herself from doing these bad things. And I just feel bad for her. She's gonna need therapy when she finally gets out of all this.
She has two wolves inside of her. One of them is just her, and the other one is the evil creature, the evil spirit that was placed inside of her by Narsatoru. The one thing that I will say is now that Gentle has been freed from brain control, and now that, like, could Narsatoru have a second character who is a quote-unquote puppet who's being mind-controlled? And I don't think so, for the same reason that I don't think that they're going to drag out the Gentle Amane stuff anymore, because, like, what's the point? Like, the girls have already found out that kindness can defeat it. And so I think that we're going to either see Narsatoru or Secretoru take front stage, like go out and actually be a general for an episode.
That'd be cool. I would really like to see Secretoru's fighting style.
Absolutely. And another thing that I guess I didn't really think about, but in the first season of Futari wa PreCure, the female general was actually like one of the smarter generals who kind of fought like suavely, that's not the right word, cunningly, I guess. And so it's interesting that Narsatoru is the genius in this season. I guess the women generals aren't always the smart ones, but I do, like you said, what is Secretoru's fighting style? Because Narsatoru's is very clearly going to be exploit some weakness. But maybe Secretoru's will be something like, my Ubazaos can be invisible, or something like that.
That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you notice that when Yui was talking about things she loved and that she couldn't love if she were mind-controlled, she was like, I wouldn't be able to love vegetables anymore.
I wouldn't be able to love eating healthy foods that are under 500 calories a meal, right, kids?
Yeah, like they're really leaning into this she's a healthy eater thing, which is fun, but that's not the impression I got from her from the first episode. The impression I got was she loves all foods, so it does feel a little preachy to me.
Yeah, I guess so. With media that is designed for children, though, I think they're allowed to be on the nose, every once in a while.
That's fair, that's fair. Did you like this episode?
I liked it all right. I think it was kind of predictable a bit for, an older audience who kind of has seen the real you is inside of you all along trope. But I do appreciate that the last time we had a significant encounter between Gentle, disguised as Amane, and the delicious girls, the delicious party girls, it was about the recipes, and it was the characters for good, the PreCure, being like, recipes are awesome and cute and wonderful. And Gentle was like, no, gross. And so I like that the thing that proved that the real Gentle was inside of her was the fact that she drew a happy recipe on like some card that she left somewhere. And that's the thing that they used to appeal to her, her goodness. Here's a question. Well, first, did you like this episode?
It was fun.
Okay.
I want more of Takumi. I'm more interested in his, B-plot that's going on right now, which
absolutely.
We're going to get into in the next episode.
Seems like it. Yeah, absolutely.
So this just kind of felt like a rehash of last episode, but with more I want to hold your hand from Yui.
Yeah, last episode was the reveal, and then this episode was Yui showing why she's the pink cure, why she's the leader, and her using empathy to deal with the situation. My question, there's many questions that we can discuss, but what do you think Amane's role could be since she can see recipes? There's a very good chance she could be the secret cure. We've been speculating about that, but we're only on episode 13. Usually they don't show up to 20 to 25. So, is she going to be the woman in the chair who helps them who has no PreCure powers for a couple of episodes, or what do you think?
I think that she is going to spend a little while avoiding Yui. Maybe it'll be just an episode, but can you imagine Yui kind of, stalking her. Like, she looks over her shoulder and Yui's, like, peeking around the corner. And she's just, like, walks faster to get away from her. And by the end of the episode, maybe she is befriended by the team, but she's still not, like, fully willing to commit to being on the team.
Sure, yeah. Maybe, because we saw in this episode, too, and this is, you know, the fact that she was very clearly an evil general who was the same age as the other girls, and then we had suspicions that she went to the same school as them. Like, there's some good telegraphed clues here that she could be the Sixth Ranger, the mid-season cure. But what really solidified it in this episode that made me go, aha, you sons of guns, you thought you could hide it from me. Her family owns a food store, just like all of the other girls, right? I don't know if Kakone's family owns one, but in the promotional material, it was like she's associated with like a high-end restaurant or something like that.
Her family owns like really high-class restaurants, but it hasn't ever been mentioned in the actual show.
Okay, and she doesn't live in like the attic or the upper floor of a restaurant like Yui and Ran do. Mm-hmm. But when I saw that Amane's house was also a fourth type of food store, I was like, okay, I gotcha, you know. So I think she will be the mid-season cure. It's just a matter of when. And I think an episode where she's a little put off by how she acted, you know, maybe tries to avoid these girls, maybe thinks that she hates them. You could have one of the characters like try to like say hi to her from across the hallway, and she turns and she goes the other way, and they could explain to the other girls, and Mary be like, oh, it seems like Amane's avoiding me. And then Yui could be like, my grandma once said that sometimes you have to give people distance like calzone. And they'll be like, calzone? And then the monsters will show up.
Oh, no.
But assuming Amane is reluctant to help their cause, we don't know what kind of a personality she's going to have now that she's been freed of the mind control and such. But assuming that she basically doesn't believe in herself, her family's restaurant will be attacked, and that will be the time when she turns, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I also want to throw out there, so if you're avoiding spoilers, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but you should stay off of Twitter, because there is no avoiding spoilers on PreCure Twitter, and I think for the next season, I'm actually going to mute all the PreCure accounts I follow, just so that I can kind of go into it unspoiled.
The one thing that frustrates me about that... I'm sorry, did you have more that you wanted to say?
I did, but go for it.
Okay, the thing that frustrates me about this is that Toei has now officially revealed the design and the name of the Secret Sixth Ranger. And so... In spoiler culture, it would be uncool if someone found leaks of what the cure might look like and they posted that or something like that. I'm against that as a way of spoiling seasons and stuff. But the fact that Toei officially announced the character before the character was in the show, come on, man. Like, they probably need to get it out there because they need the toys to be manufactured in time for when the character shows up, but...
And to be fair, if Toei hadn't announced it, I'm positive that people would have said, aha, look, they filed this patent for such and such.
Yeah.
So they might as well get ahead of it, but you're right, it's still kind of a bummer. What I was going to say was, in looking at the promotional tweet for this character, I don't see an energy fairy. So I'm really curious if they're keeping that part of it a secret, because I'm excited to see what her energy fairy would be.
Or his, it could be Takumi, no. But I'm just...
It could be Takumi. I don't think it is, but it could be. What if it's all of the peepees?
Just in a trench coat? They're stacked on top of each other?
No, I meant as the henshin fairy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That would be pretty good.
Stacked in a trench coat.
Yeah, so... It'll be interesting to see how they handle this story, and we say this every week, and I'm actually kind of getting tired of repeating it, but I am curious what, in an alternate universe, this series would look like if they hadn't been hacked, because even if they lost 3 episodes, it feels way too early in the season to have already said, okay, we've officially released artwork of this character. Maybe that means there's going to be 2 secret characters. Maybe they're like, everyone already knows that there's going to be a secret character. Everyone's already looking at Gentle kind of funny, like maybe she could be. But maybe there's a 5th girl who will show up and she'll be the 2nd secret 6th ranger, the 7th ranger.
Or Takumi.
But here's the thing, Takumi's already in the opening, or like, I guess technically we don't know that he's in the opening, but we see a character who is fighting alongside the PreCure who looks more like a boy wearing, fancy clothes or whatever. And so we go, it's probably the childhood friend. So it would be very bold of them to put the Secret Ranger in the opening and be like, we tricked you because we didn't replace them with anything. That actually just was the opening. That would be kind of funny.
That would be really funny.
What do you think Takumi was holding at the end of this episode? He was holding like a little silver box that had 3 like symbols on it that were, pink, yellow, and blue, like the colors of the PreCure. So and he was in the Delicious Field. We've never seen someone enter a Delicious Field without an energy fairy accompanying them. So what's going on there?
So I'm positive that box is a henshin item.
Okay.
Just, straight out the gate. But I'm curious how he got it, and I'm wondering, because we know that he knows Mari. He recognizes him from some long-distant interaction.
Seems like, yes.
So maybe Mari was in the human world fighting something or doing something, and he got hit by a bus. And Takumi helped him, and he was
Takumi nursed him back to health slowly and painfully over months until they formed a bond?
No.
Okay.
Saving Private Mari-chan. But no, maybe Mari entrusted him with this and was like, keep this safe, and when the time comes to use it, you'll know. Did
he pull a Prince Kanata on? Like, Takumi is like, I want to grow up and become a princess, and Mari's like, I believe in you. Here's a mysterious item that'll help you become a PreCure 15 years from now.
Yes. And maybe when Takumi is in the presence of all 3 PreCure at once, when he finally has his actual confrontation, his box will light up and he'll get his henshin.
I still think that, from what I can recall, most PreCure get their transformation in a moment of heightened emotion. So, I like the idea of him being near the PreCure is enough, but I think that someone's going to... Yui will get knocked out, and then the monster's about to step on him, and you'll be like, no! And then that's when it'll shine, and he'll transform, and whatever.
I think the fights are going to get more dangerous from here on out.
Seems like it, right? Because they've already indicated that Gentle was holding back and actually had a gentle heart. And so if Narsatoru is next up to bat, he does not have those qualms. He does not have any semblance of a conscience or pity in him. And so I think you're right that the fights will get more dangerous.
Yeah.
We also saw the girls get upgraded versions of their attacks. We explicitly called one of them because the 500 calorie punch became the 1000 kilocalorie punch. So, we said that in the very first episode. That's why you put a number on things so that you can increase the number. But we also got were they called zesty noodles or something? Or supreme? But
we should have written this down. But yeah, Ran and Kokone each got an extra adjective.
It was heavy sandwich press for Kokone, and her bread slices were bigger. And Rand's cut noodles were even sharper, I think, and electrified.
Oh no, these are flamin' hot ramen.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, that's Kool-Aid. That's something else. My brain reached for something that was related to food and it grabbed that.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
All right, so I've worked in a lot of schools. Flaming hot chips have become hugely popular amongst kids. And I don't know why, because when I was a kid, I hated spicy things, and I think that's pretty common for kids. But they're really popular right now. All the kids love flaming hot chips. This has led to so many fights that a lot of schools have had to ban flaming hot chips. Because kids will get into fist fights with each other for their chips.
It's like how in prison cigarettes are a form of currency. Among the kids, they have contraband flaming hot chips and Cheetos and such. I'll do your math homework, but it's going to cost you 3 Cheetos.
You want to know kind of a dick move I pulled in the 3rd grade?
What's that?
All right, so classmate had Doritos and I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards and I wanted Doritos. And I was like, all right, I'll trade you a Yu-Gi-Oh card for your bag of Doritos. And he's like, okay, cool. And I gave him a really common card.
Oh no.
It was a dick move. And his friends was like, Cat, that's a dick move. Give him a better card.
You gave him Pot of Greed, and he was like, I don't know what this does. And so then he went to go watch the anime. No one's been able to explain what Pot of Greed actually does when you play it on the field.
Anyway, that's just been your quick aside about how children are dicks to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. is there anything else from this episode? I think we're pretty exhausted on all the
I'm
details.
good to move on. Max Heart continues to be Max Heart, so can we just talk about Sweet?
Yeah, absolutely. I know this segment where we talk about Max Heart has basically become Joel complains about something about Max Heart that he doesn't think works very well.
Maybe you should just make a whole YouTube video on the series as a whole.
Well, I was thinking of it, but first I need to finish it, right? If I say that the fights are generic and then in episode 15 they introduce some really cool thing that changes it forever, I don't want to, speak too soon. But I think I said something last week, I believe, about how the Max Heart girls are passive. They kind of just sit around and they're like, oh no, are monsters going to attack? And then when monsters do attack, they're like, oh no, we've got to stop the monsters. And I thought that that's what made Max Heart different from other seasons. But if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, most other shows don't really have any better clarification. The Maho girls were looking for the different gems and stuff, and Star Twinkle were looking for the different Star Princess pens, and the Healin' Good girls didn't really do anything to go out and seek the bad guys. So it's not active versus passive characters. I think the secret sauce, or the specific detail, is that every episode of Max Heart basically starts with Nagisa giving a flashback of what happened last episode, but what happened last episode is always the same. Those bad guys showed up. Will we be able to defeat them again? I don't know, Nagisa. You've done it for 56 episodes at this point, if you count both Futariwa and Max Heart. I think you girls will be fine. Whereas in Go Princess, they might have the goal of finding the keys, or they might have the goal of fighting Midnight, I think her name was, or Twilight, that's it. But they don't every episode go, what will we do?
Well, and again, I think that framing the flashbacks that way is problematic, because this is not a superhero show. This is a slice of life show with superhero elements.
Sure.
Some of the other PreCure seasons are more solidly superhero shows.
Yeah.
And I think we may have been spoiled a little bit by watching later seasons first, whereas, at the time, this is one of the only magical girl shows that's really big. So I don't know, viewing it that way has made it less frustrating for me. And in fact, if you skip the monster stuff altogether, if you just watch the shows about them trying to be girls and figure out who they are, it's a pretty good slice of life show. It's the kind of show I would have wanted to have when I was the target age group.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Moving on to Sweet Sweet PreCure. Oh!
Now, see, this show is fun because it's got colors in it.
It's so... I already alluded to it, but Akko has more of a personality now that she's being integrated into the team, and, that makes sense, but also, I really enjoy the facial expressions, and the part where, Ellen's like, I'll get the ones in the tall place, and she goes, I've got boots! I can reach the tall places now, mother! Not mother, but...
Yeah, Akko is not willing to be condescended to by the older girls. Bass drum and baritone are still terrifying monsters.
Yes, they didn't get
I really thought they'd go back to normal after a while, but nope, they're just permanent like this. And poor baritone is looking in the mirror and he's like, I can't do my skincare routine like this.
Yeah.
Man... Gosh, can we take this guy to Sephora?
Absolutely. Give him a trip to the day spa, just a me time.
It's like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but instead of being for kids with cancer, it's for ugly people. And you take them and you get them whatever makeup they want and whatever skincare they want, and you just make them feel good in their own skin.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I will say is that the whole theme about the 4 girls and how they keep beating these bad guys, and it's explicitly called Harmony Power, and the first episode was about how Kanade and Hibiki couldn't get along, so they had to overcome their discordance or whatever. I think the fact that Falsetto is treating the other two like trash, and he's constantly like, you guys are idiots. I really do think that discordance is going to cause the other two to, turn on him somewhere, I think there's 48 episodes, so I think like maybe like episode 45, 46 will be when he says something that just goes a little bit too far, or like, I'll get rid of you two if you fail me one more time, and then they might join the PreCure, or they might betray Falsetto at a crucial moment.
Can you imagine them pulling "You can't fire us, we quit"?
Absolutely. Could you? Yeah, like you could see them like lying on the ground, like maybe sitting down because they've been winded or they got punched in the stomach or something. And Falsetto's like, "You two are absolutely useless. Why don't you just go back to Minorland?" And they turn and just punch him like together at the same time and launch him off screen.
What about that scene from Spy Family where he punches the dude in the face?
Oh, absolutely.
But it's baritone and falsetto both converging on falsetto. I said baritone and falsetto. I meant baritone and bass drum.
Yeah. Or...
No.
Mr. Bass Drum. Please, Mr. Bass Drum was my frog amphibian father.
He looks good like this, not gonna lie. I like this design for a monster general.
It makes him more unique than before. Before it was just kind of like three general dudes, and now you've got like the weird one who's like full monster. Like Frog Boy looks way different than the other two. The other two are still mostly humanoid in their kind of shape and design and stuff. And then you have the dramatic one who has a mask, didn't even get fully monsterized, the jerk. And then you have the one who bemoans the fact that he's now a monster.
We should just start calling him Avatar. Because he's blue guy with pointy ears.
You know what? I would not be completely against that.
These episodes had a distinct lack of Mephisto, and for that, I am disappointed.
Yes, Mephisto did show up briefly, but not for very long. He was in a flashback with Akko. It turns out, I think I said this in the succinct summary, but it turns out she doesn't want to sing unless she's with her main family. But the thing is that Hibiki is like, you are our family. What are you talking about? They hinted at Hibiki wanting a younger sister earlier in the season, or a younger sibling. I don't think she cares if it was a boy or a girl, when you had an episode with Soda. And now everyone is treating Akko like the little sister, and Hibiki is the one who is spending the most time kind of building that relationship, and it's perfect. It was really well foreshadowed in a way that didn't make me go, oh, I know what's going to happen. I had no idea that Muse was going to take on the little sister role.
No, that was good foreshadowing. This is just a good season. Like, all of the characters are enjoyable. I feel like the side characters play an actual role in the show. Like, Soda has been important.
Yeah.
Whereas in other seasons, you've got the sibling characters, but they really aren't relevant. They're just there occasionally. I like the music. I like the attacks for the most part. Visually, it's good. It's just a good season.
Absolutely. I will say, you mentioned side characters. I can't remember if we've mentioned this on the pod or if it was while we were watching an episode or something. I can't always keep track. But where is Oji-sama? Where has he been this whole time? He kind of just disappeared off the face of the planet.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
I guess they've been busy.
Yeah,
They haven't actually had a scene at school.
In quite some time. That's absolutely true. Yeah, okay. Yeah, once the world-ending noise was revealed, that kind of took precedence over Kanade's thirst for the pretty boy at school.
We gotta talk about noise.
Yeah.
So, you never saw Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No.
But there was a season.
Well, okay, technically I watched like 3 episodes.
But you never saw Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
There was a season where episode 1 of this season, she just has a younger sister. And everybody in the show acts like this character has been there the whole time and that she's been a part of all the adventures. And you, the viewer, are gaslit into being like, did I miss something? Has she been here this whole time? And it turns out, no, there was some spoilers
like for
something. A really old show, but she's like actually made of magic and she altered everyone's minds so that they would accept her because she wanted to be part of a family or something bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what Sweet has done to us with the bird.
Okay.
Because it showed up, but then everybody was talking. Like, there was never a scene where Akko went, I found this bird, this is P-chan. All of a sudden it was just there, and everybody knew its name, and everybody was like, oh, hi, P-chan. What? What? There's no sort of like, yes, hello. I don't know. I'm not being very articulate, but I just felt like the show was gaslighting me into believing that this has been a pet of the team for several days now.
Yeah, and like, I wish that P-chan had been introduced earlier in the season. I know that there was a lot going on. Like, we always have, like, kind of an arc to kind of focus on. So at first it was Hibiki and Kanade getting along, and then it was getting Ellen to join the team, and then it was figuring out how to get Mephisto negatoned, or not negatoned, but how to get him mind controlled. But last episode 37, it ended with the noise rock that he was imprisoned in kind of glowing, and you see a single feather land on the kind of throne that Falsetto was sitting in, and it starts to glow. And then this episode starts with Akko running into a bird. And I mean, we've noticed the bird motif of the bones, and clearly Noise is a bird. And so your first thought, Kat, when you saw it was, oh, this is Noise. I thought it might have been like the angel that represents the opposite of Noise, the anti-Noise, like the fairy that joins them. But in the very next episode, the notes go missing. All of the fairy tones are like, we just lost our notes. And then the episode ends with the bird stealing the notes and flying away. We had one episode to get used to this bird, and then one episode when they were betrayed. Whereas if P-chan was there the whole season, and there were subtle little hints that things were going wrong at weird times, and they're like, that's weird, we should have a few more notes than we do right now, then when it betrays them, you could be like, oh, P-chan, the bird we've known this whole time? It'd be like if Hami turned out to be Noise. That would be an effective twist. But having this creature show up right after they're like, Noise is going to be revived. Yeah, I wonder if you should be looking out for the weird-looking bird thing.
Yep. I did love that very casually baritone and bass drum were like, oh, Noise is gone, by the way. And Falsetto goes, what? And he looks at the rock and he goes, what? They're like, yeah, he left. He left yesterday. We don't know where he is.
I do wonder... it seems like Noise in the flashback with Otokichi and in the giant rock thing seems like it's a lot bigger than this tiny bird, so I wonder what is going to cause it to grow. Like, I would think eating the notes would cause it to grow, but it got quite a few of them.
It'll be Rita, what's her name?
Rita Repulsa?
Yeah. That's what'll make the monster grow.
Oh, I see. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from these episodes?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like you said in your succinct summary, James and I were both like, oh, that thing is horrifying because its face is the size of its entire body. And it's got little, like, if you've ever seen chicken wings, like, defeathered, it's got those. It doesn't have feathers yet because it's just a baby, but it's just creepy looking. And Joel was like, no, I think it's cute, actually.
I think it's a bit cute. I don't think it's the cutest thing, but I mean, I don't know. To me, it doesn't look like a creature you would actually run into in the real world. It doesn't look like an animal, but this is a show with, like, weird fairy things, so, like...
We've got a neighbor with Boston Terriers, which, if you're not familiar, they're little squish-faced dogs, and I was telling Joel, this creature is cute in the same way that those dogs are cute. Which they are. They're wonderful little goblins.
Absolutely. We do not have any sweet sound bites to read out. James watched the episodes with us, and I think we've covered a lot of his commentary as we went through the various episodes. And we don't have an episode to look forward to because we've already talked about the stolen memories. So I will say this. I don't remember if last episode we called them stolen memories. I might have read them as, like, the sealed memories. Who stole them?
Almost certainly Narsatoru, right?
Right. It would be interesting if Narsatoru has done all of these experiments on all these different groups of people, and in the end, Yui and the PreCure, by helping them, they actually assemble a larger force, so Narsatoru has kind of created the army that will destroy him. I would absolutely love that.
That would be fantastic. Do you want to send me out on a crack theory? Fruits. Amane runs a fruit restaurant. And Yui loves vegetables. So they will go to war.
They will go to war. We will see Noise-sama face a bunch of other wild birds in increasing size. And every time Noise defeats one of them, he will grow bigger and stronger. And it'll be an evolution leading up to the final reveal of his true form in the final episode.
He'll get his final giant form by opening his mouth and swallowing Aphrodite's bird whole.
And then, when the PreCure defeat it the first time, it's going to get knocked down next to a KFC. And it's going to buy a 100-piece popcorn chicken. And it's just going to... And it's going to grow even bigger and stronger.
Because it gets knocked down, but it gets up again.
And that has been your... Final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone. And don't forget to eat your green beans.
Lightly salted. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter @PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter @Cotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.